Today we're looking at the moon craters of the Moon National Wilderness Area. This is just, we stopped at the side of the road, but out there it evidently is, and a little bit of data. Apparently this is a rift, and a bunch of volcanoes occurred.
They believe that craters of the moon will see new fountains of basaltic fire within the next 1,000 years.
It's a little hard to get really impressive videos out here at Craters of the Moon, but it is extremely obvious that these are not standard stones, these rocks. These things have definitely been spit out in a lava form and then cooled. You can just tell by the crystallization and various other aspects to it. What I find interesting is that this eruption was a rather recent phenomenon. Like 1,500 years ago, Indians, some parts of it. They've done a really great job of creating a paved walkway and a series of bridges across this landscape. So this is a tree that they used to try to estimate the last date of the last outbreak of lava. So there it is, back in the 50s, it had growth. Here it is today in 2025, no growth, she's dead. She gave up the ghost. Idaho is the only state in the lower 48 without a national park. Craters of the Moon is a national monument, not a park, but it's probably the closest thing Idaho has. The landscape is surreal. Dark lava flows, sharp ridges, and craters that feel like something from another planet. I've read that it's been considered for national park status, but it'll probably never happen. It's remote, not heavily visited, and lacks the kind of infrastructure that usually goes with full park designation. And honestly, that might be a good thing. As it stands, it feels wild, untouched, and a little mysterious, and I think that's part of the appeal. One thing I really appreciated was the elevated paved walkways. They wind through the lava fields in a way that makes the whole place feel accessible, but without taking away from the raw alien feel of the landscape. It's a simple feature, but it really lets you take it all in without scrambling over sharp rock. I always find it fascinating how a tree like this will somehow figure out a way to live in such a crazy place. They actually poured concrete trails to get us back to some of these areas. So well done, but it's so funny. They poured them, and then of course the animals, just in the short length of time that the concrete was setting up, the animals had to create their effects. Several trees in here that are really, really in bad shape. Like, that would be like seriously dead. And of course it brings up the question as to why this thing got a substantial size and then obviously died off. And yet, there's one behind it the same. Yet if you swing off to the right here, you'll see quite a few that are alive and breathing. We climbed to the top of Inferno Cone, a steep black hill made entirely of loose volcanic cinder. We gotta go check it out. It doesn't look that tall from the parking lot, but the footing is tricky, like walking uphill on ball bearings. It was incredibly windy at the top, almost hard to stand still. Well, the wind is beefing up, so that is now in hand. But the view was worth it. From up there, we could see the entire volcanic landscape stretched out below us, jagged lava fields, scattered cones, and the vast Snake River Plain in the distance. It's one of the few places in the park where you really get a sense of the scale of this alien terrain. Quiet, windy, and strangely beautiful. Okay, we were on about a 0.8 mile walk back to lava caves, which we had to get permits to walk through, and the permits are set up only so they can ask you a certain set of questions about other caves you've been in and what clothing you wore, and then that they determine if they want you to leave that particular clothing back. And the reason being, evidently, is there's a type of a mold that has been killing these bats, and that mold will tend to live on cloth. They've measured it 20 years without any declination of life, so they don't want anything that's been into another cave. Kim and I determined that we haven't worn any of these clothes in the caves, so we're A-OK on this. We made it out to Dewdrop Cave, which we hadn't even known existed when we first got to the park. We showed up in running shoes, shorts, no flashlight, no hard hat, completely unprepared. As someone who used to do a little caving when I was younger, I knew right away this wasn't the smartest move. The rocks were rough, uneven, and jagged, perfect for a twisted ankle or worse. And overhead there were low ledges just waiting to knock you in the head if you weren't paying attention. We did make our way down into the cave, very slowly, very carefully, sampon, and managed to avoid injury. But without our own light, we couldn't see much, and it felt a little sketchy, to be honest. There's some new people coming down. I think it's time for us to head on up. I'm ready to skip the other one if you want to.
Well, if it's the same thing as this, yeah.
After that, we decided to skip the second cave on the loop. We figured we'd pushed our luck far enough. Still, even with all that, it was a fascinating experience. Quiet, cool, and definitely something we'll remember.